All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Maybe I can get you out of here by 1 o'clock. So I am recording this because I have a couple of the faculty members that want to watch this. So I am recording just to let you know that. Okay, so I am Amber Ward. I know most of you have already met me before, and Miss Morgan Whaley was in here earlier. And then we have Dr. Rachel Abbott, that is our dean, and most of you have probably already met Dr. Abbott. And then Dr. Christopher Pritchett. I don't know if you've met him or not. He is our new assistant dean. He started with us in the summer. So if you haven't seen him around, you may see him eventually. He is in the office suite with Dr. Abbott. So that is the 4 people part of the clinical experience office. So if you ever have any questions, you know to contact me or Miss Whaley first, but if you ever need to go above us, you would go to Dr. Abbott or Dr. Pritchett. Hey, I got it to work. Okay, so the mission statement of the College of Education is the preparation and continuous development of candidates from diverse populations to high levels of achievement. You all know we put our mission statement and our conceptual framework on every orientation PowerPoint, so I know you've seen it before, but we just want to remind you of it each year. So our 4 key concepts in our conceptual framework are essential knowledge, skills, and dispositions, diversity, continuous reflection and assessment, and professionalism. And then these student learning outcomes, these 10 outcomes, I'll let you read them as I'm talking. These outcomes you will work on throughout your career here in the College of Education. You have already probably started working on some of these. When you student teach your last semester, you will do a portfolio based on all 10 of these student learning outcomes. So what I will say is everything you do from now until student teaching, save it somewhere. All of your lesson plans that you make for your classes, your case studies, your activities that you do in your classes, save them somewhere, because when you go to do your portfolio when you're student teaching, you may have to come back and pull that out to put in your portfolio. For example, you probably wrote a philosophy of education in one of your intro classes. I know for a fact that's one thing that has to go in your portfolio. So save everything you do in your classes from now up until student teaching, because you may need to go back to them and pull artifacts from what you've done in your classes, your junior and the first semester of your senior year. All right, so the goals of this orientation are to increase your understanding of the field experience requirements, expectations, and to give you knowledge and use of available resources for field experiences. Canes Connect. I know all of you are upper division, so you are probably aware of Canes Connect. This is where we have you fill out the field experience card each semester. Miss Whaley usually sends a link each semester, and that's the survey that you enter your information, your personal information, and then you put the counties that you would prefer to do field experience and to student teach. All that is done through Canes Connect. There's also information about the organizations on Canes Connect. I know a few of you are already members of Educators Rising and Kappa Delta Pi. If you're not a member and would like more information about either of those organizations, Dr. Mackey is the advisor for Educators Rising, and Dr. Abbott is the advisor right now for Kappa Delta Pi. She will be passing that torch along to another faculty member, but we haven't done that yet. So as soon as we have another faculty member advising that, as soon as we have another faculty member advising that, we will update that and let you all know who that is. But for right now, for more information, you can contact Dr. Abbott about that. All right, what is field experience? You all know what field experience is. You have been out in the field for some of your intro classes, and some of you have already been out for upper division classes. So this is just an opportunity for you to engage in the practice of teaching in the authentic classroom setting. Now, during COVID, some of you may have had to do videos, like Atlas videos or teacher toolkit videos while you were in the intro classes because the school systems were not allowing but a certain number of students to come out into their schools during COVID. And when you watch those videos, yes, you may see some best practices in those videos, but that's not a true authentic setting. And we want you to be able to go out into those schools to see that true authentic setting. So throughout your 2 years, your junior and senior year, so throughout all of your upper division classes, you must complete a variety of field experiences. You have to meet grade band requirements to be certified. So we have to be able to prove to the PSC that you have been in different grade bands. So for example, elementary, you have to have pre-K or K. You have to have 1, 2, or 3, and you have to have 4 or 5. So you have to be in 3 different grade bands before you graduate for elementary. For middle school, you choose 2 concentration areas, but you're certified 4 through 8. So middle school candidates have to be in either a 4th or 5th grade classroom. They have to be in a 6th, 7th, or 8th grade in one concentration and a 6th, 7th, or 8th grade in the other concentration. High school students, you have high school teacher candidates, you have a middle school placement and a high school placement because you're certified 6 through 12. And then our health and PE and special ed and music, you're certified pre-K through 12th. So you have to do a primary placement, a elementary placement, middle placement, and high placement. And then for special ed, you have to do the different types of SPED classrooms. So for each program, you have different grade band requirements that you have to meet before the PSC will certify you. We also have to give you an experience with students in varied and diverse backgrounds. And that's why we have you meet a multiple county requirement. So, for example, the students in Sumter County are they do not come from the same background as some students in Sly County or Lee County. So we have to put you in different counties so that you can get that different diverse placement by going to those different counties. And then we also have to provide you with experiences with students with exceptionalities. When you all have to take, no matter what program you're in, you all have to take the EDSP 3000 course. And when you're in that course, I'm pretty sure you do a case study on a student that has an IEP. And so you have to have experience with a student in that same semester that you are doing that EDSP 3000 class. So if you haven't taken that yet and then you still have to do that, just expect that semester you will be working with a student that has an IEP. You good? Do you want to speak? You're just saying hi. They are. They're very quiet though. All right, and then provide experiences representing a range of the curriculum and or content field. That just goes back to what I said about middle grades and secondary. You have different, well, middle grades really, you have different content fields, and then special ed, you have different types of special ed settings. Okay, so what is a clinical specialist? If you are student teaching spring of 23, raise your hand. Okay, so those of you that are student teaching spring of 23, you will have an observation from a clinical specialist this semester. So usually it's the semester before you student teach, a clinical specialist will come out and observe you. There may be a couple of our secondary people that will have an observation. You may be still a junior, but you will have an observation because you may be in that secondary class that has like 120 hours of field experience. So you may have an observation as well. Even though you are not student teaching in the spring, you may also have an observation. So the clinical specialist is just a person who works with GSW. All of our clinical specialists are part-time with us. We have 3 of them that are coming today. Miss Debbie Dean is already here. She's sitting in the back listening to us. And we have 2 more clinical specialists that are coming in, and they're going to introduce themselves to you in a little while. So they are our angels that go out into the classrooms and visit you all while you're out there. So those of you that have to have an observation from one of them this semester, you will see them in your classroom. Those of you that do not have to have an observation this semester, they have been assigned to certain students. So you may have a visit from them, but don't stress. They're not coming in to observe you. They may just pop in to see you and check on you and ask how you're doing. If they're not coming to the specific school that you're at, then they may just have a virtual call with you and just check on you and ask you how you're doing in a virtual call. But this is just a person that is part-time with GSW, and they want to check on you and be there for support while you are in the field and during your 3 or 4 weeks that you're out there. Middle grade, secondary, health and PE, music, if it takes you longer than the 4 weeks, you all know that sometimes if you have more hours than you can get done in the 4 weeks, you have to continue going. So the clinical specialist may touch base with you even after that 4th week of field experience. So just be on the lookout. The clinical specialist will reach out to you if you are on their list. So if you get an email from somebody you've never heard of before, that will be one of our clinical specialists. Okay, what is a GSW mentor? That is the teacher that you go and observe. The host school teacher, they partner with us to help train and mentor you. They serve as role models by exemplifying the best techniques of teaching, classroom management, and interpersonal relationships with students and other educators. So these mentor teachers have to be recommended by their principal. We don't just call the school and say, just pick a teacher and we're sending a student to be in their classroom. They have to have recommendations from the principal for you to be in their classroom. So we ask the principals to give us their best teachers, their best mentors for you all to come learn from. And then we have to make sure that they've conducted themselves in an ethical and professional manner. They can't have any sanctions on their certificate from the PSC. We have to enter all this data in a database, and so it pops out. If this mentor happens to have a sanction on their certificate, then we are notified of that. So they have to have been performing in an ethical and professional manner. And then these mentors will be able to evaluate you while you're in field experience. They will do 2 evaluations for you, and I'll go through those in just a few minutes. All right, so the progression of field experiences. When you're in introduction level courses, you probably just did observations. You just watched what they were doing. You took notes for your assignments for your classes, and you probably just assisted your mentor in doing small things around the classroom. Some of you in intro classes may have pulled small groups and worked with small groups of students. Some of you may have gotten to work with the whole group of students, but nothing was required of you to actually teach a lesson while you were in those intro courses. Now that you're in the upper division courses, you may have to do some teaching already. You will do teaching for sure your senior year, but some of the junior courses also may require some teaching or some small group lessons. So you are, of course, still going to be observing, but you're also going to have to be working on your course assignments, which will be more than you had in intro classes. You will have more detailed assignments for these courses. You may actually, like I said, get to teach some of your lessons that you're planning. You're going to be doing lesson plans for some of your classes. Some of your classes may actually have you assessing your students. And then, like I said, the semester before you student teach, you will get an evaluation by a clinical specialist. Now, I want to mention, I didn't mention this just a second ago, but this evaluation and this observation, these clinical specialists come in to do for you. This is not to scare you. This is not to intimidate you. This is for them to offer support and feedback on how you're doing in the classroom. Not only does your mentor offer you feedback, but we also want someone else to see your teaching style and to offer you some feedback on the lesson. And then your last semester, you will be student teaching. You'll do student teaching assignments, lesson planning, teaching, assessing, and you will be assigned a university supervisor that will come out and evaluate you along with your mentor evaluating you throughout your student teaching semester. You'll take the GACE either the semester before you student teach or the semester during student teaching. So I think it's the midterm, the semester before you student teach is when your GACE will open for you to be able to register for that. So those of you that are student teaching in the spring, at midterm this semester, you should start being able to go in your My PSC account and register and to take the GACE. We suggest for you to go ahead and take it the semester before you student teach, so you don't have to worry about it when you're student teaching. But there are quite a few people that want to wait until the semester they student teach to do that, and that's fine. You just have to take the GACE, at least attempt all the parts of the GACE that is required for your program. You have to at least attempt them before you can graduate. We can't let you graduate if you haven't attempted the GACE. If you do not pass the GACE, that's okay. You can continue taking it after graduation, and then once you pass it, you'll be certified. But we can't let you graduate unless you actually attempt it. Okay, so once you receive your placement from me, I want you to email your mentor teacher and the liaison. You can send separate emails. You can copy the liaison. You can just put them both on the email and the two. You don't have to put it under CC. You can just put it to the mentor and liaison. But please let them know if you're elementary or SPED, you know what weeks you're going to be out there. SPED, you have to be out there the entire 4 weeks. Elementary, you have to be out there the entire 3 weeks. Let them know those weeks. Yes, we have already, my office has already told the liaisons this, and we're going to send an email to the mentors to tell them this, but it needs to come from you as well. So introduce yourself, tell them what program you're in, tell them how long you're going to be there. Middle grades, secondary, music, health, and PE. Let them know your first day. So with you all, you have to make a calendar contract, and I'll pass those out in just a few minutes. Middle grades, secondary, health and PE, and music make calendar contracts. So you have to write down throughout the remaining of the semester, the hours that you're going to be out there with your mentor. This is because you all have classes here on campus that are not canceled for the 3 or 4 field experience weeks. So you have to be back on campus for your classes. So you may not be able to go for full days during those 3 or 4 weeks. But we ask that you go, middle grades, secondary, music, health, and PE, go at least on the first Monday or the Tuesday, which will be September 19th or 20th. Go on one of those days to at least meet your mentor. So when you email that mentor, tell them, I will be coming on September 19th to meet you and spend however many hours in your classroom, and we'll set up a calendar while I'm there. So then you'll take your calendar contract with you, and you will sit down with the mentor that first day that you meet the mentor, and you will lay out the calendar for the rest of the semester and put in the days and times that you will be there. We cannot excuse you for classes here on campus. So if your class is not canceled, you have to come to your classes on campus and work around those classes to go to the field. Most of the elementary and special ed majors, all of your classes are going to be canceled. I know special ed, there may be a couple that first week. There's one in particular I know of that you have to come to that first week. So if your class is not canceled, please know you have to come to class. We cannot excuse you from class to go to field experience. So also in this email, please remember to thank the mentor and the liaison for allowing you to observe in their classroom and in their school. We have told them thank you many times. From myself and Miss Whaley, we've told them thank you, but we want to make sure it comes from you as well. And not only is the email when you introduce yourself nice to tell them thank you, but also, and it's not here, but also follow up when you're done with field experience. Follow up with another email and tell them that you enjoyed your time being able to be in their classroom, and thank you again for letting you come to the classroom. And also, in this initial email, you're required to adhere to whatever the school's COVID policies are. So if the particular school you're going to requires masks, then you have to wear a mask. I don't think any of them are requiring masks anymore, but if they do, then you have to adhere to that policy. So go ahead and ask your mentor in that initial email, are there any COVID policies I need to know about? So that when you show up on the first day, if masks are required, you'll have one. I keep forgetting I have this in my hand. Okay, are there any questions right now? I want to stop for just a second. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think so. Right. I think that you have to wait until it opens up to be able to click on and look at the different dates. Now, you may want to ask Miss Yolanda. She may know of a different way, but the last I heard, the only way to look at the dates and times and places, because you could do it in different places, the only way to look at that was to actually go through and act like you were signing up, and then you could look at it. It's on your MyPSC account. You go through like assessments or something like that on the MyPSC account. Any other questions right now before I keep going? Yeah, so during COVID, they had some online options. I don't know if they still have the online options, but they made you have like a lockdown on your screen that you couldn't like Google answers and stuff like that. And they made you have a webcam on so they could see the walls around you, things like that. It was pretty strict, but they did have an online option during COVID. But I don't know if they have that anymore. But there are locations, and most every university offers locations, offers it at their location. So there may be some. I mean, I've heard of people going to Columbus, some here in Americus, Albany. I've heard a lot in Albany, but there are locations around here. I'm not positive. I don't know. You took it here one time. I don't know if they're doing it this semester, but I know that we have in the past, but I don't know about this semester in particular.
For those of us that are student teaching in spring, which I am, and, do we have the same field experience placement in the same classroom that we're student teaching in, or are we doing
Yeah.
going somewhere else?
So yes, if you're in elementary, you have the same placement that you are student teaching in. So you already know your placement because you're student teaching in that same place.
So I was in Mandy Ciotis's room, and I'm going to be in there during student teaching.
Yes.
So that means I'm going to be in the same classroom during field experience.
The 3 weeks, yes.
I was just wondering if
I will.
somewhere else or not.
No, you're going to that place. I will send you an email. So I will send out placements the week before you're supposed to go into the field. So middle grade, secondary, health and PE, music, special ed, you all will get your placements next week because you go out September 19th. Elementary, you'll get your placements the week of September 19th because you go out the next week. So I will send you an official email with all that information on it, but you're already going to know the mentor because you already worked with them for opening school experience and you know that you're going back to them for student teaching. Okay. Any other questions right now? Okay, attendance and participation. So each course has different field experience weeks, or each program really has different field experience weeks. You all know elementary, you're 3 weeks, special ed, 4 weeks, and then the others are by hours. So each course has different hours. If you're middle grade, secondary, health and PE, and music, you'll have to look at the courses on your curriculum sheet and see how many hours you have. If you don't know, I can help you find that. I have the information, but you can look at your curriculum sheet to see how many hours each course requires. So you have to abide by your program's weeks or your hours in your curriculum sheet. And then the calendar contract is required once again for middle grade, secondary, music, health, and PE. There will be a place for you to upload that calendar contract after you and your mentor sit down and do that and you sign it. There will be a place for you to upload that in what we now call SLL. It used to be called VIA. It has a new name. So on your placement email that I send you, there will be a place that says orientation. So some schools ask that you come Monday morning at 8 a.m. and the liaison wants to meet you at the library. And then the liaison is going to walk you around the school and show you around and then take you to your mentor's classroom. So that might be your little orientation for that school. Most schools just put on the orientation information, they just put to email the mentor and liaison. Well, you're going to do that anyway. And if they want you to meet them at a certain place or be there at a certain time, then they'll reply to your email and tell you, okay, meet me in the office at that Monday morning at whatever time. If you do not get a reply from them about from the mentor or the liaison about what time to be there, or if you meet anybody, then you'll need to go to the office first thing that morning and ask for the liaison or ask where your mentor's classroom is so that someone can explain to you how to get to your mentor's classroom. All of you have been out in the field before, so you know how this works. Has anyone ever had trouble on their very first day finding their mentor? No. Okay, good. Perfect. So normally the liaisons are really good about getting you to where you need to go, or the front office staff is good about getting you to where you need to go. So you will need to attend that host school orientation if they set it for a certain day or time. If you're middle grade, secondary, health and PE, or music, and they say they want you to be there Monday morning at 8 o'clock, but you have a class Monday morning at 8 o'clock, you need to email them and tell them, I have a class at that time. I can't be there Monday morning at 8 o'clock. I'll come in as soon as my class is over or something. Get with them and make other arrangements. If no orientation is listed, then of course you're going to be emailing the liaison and mentor anyway, but speak to the liaison when you enter the school. If the front office staff can't help you find where you need to go, ask to speak to the liaison. All right, what should I do if I'm sick? So absences are excused with medical documentation or death in the immediate family. When I say medical documentation, we need something from a clinic. You can use our clinic or any other clinic, but we need something from a clinic as documentation for medical. If you have a death in the immediate family, then I'll need some type of documentation from that. Does anyone in here have children? Okay, so if you have children and they have medical documentation, then we can excuse you for the child's medical as well, as long as you provide me the child's medical documentation. If you're not able to, so if you are sick during your weeks that you are assigned, or if you have set up your calendar contract and you're supposed to be there on September 21st from 8 to 3 and you're sick that morning, then you need to email me documentation because you're breaking your calendar contract. You need to email me documentation, but you also need to communicate that with your mentor. If you are elementary and you have to be out any of those 3 weeks, if you're special ed and you have to be out any of those 4 weeks, you need to email me the documentation and then communicate that with your mentor. As soon as you know that you're not going to be able to go that day, if you wake up sick, please, please, please get in touch with your mentor as soon as you can to let them know that you're not going to be there. Just don't not show up. After you email me the medical documentation, then we'll discuss makeup days. And if once I approve for you to do X number of makeup days, then you'll need to talk to your mentor about when you're going to do those makeup days. So let's say you have strep, they're probably going to put you out for 2 or 3 days. If you have flu, they're probably going to put you out for 4 or 5 days. If you have COVID, they'll definitely put you out for at least 5 days. So I will need that documentation so we'll know exactly how many days you'll need to make up. And I will approve that for you, and then you can talk to the mentor about that specific number of days and when you'll make that up. Let's see. Send documentation, communicate with your mentor, and then schedule your makeup days with the mentor after I have approved for you to do that. Any questions about absences? Just remember, if you're middle grade, secondary, health and PE, and or music, this calendar contract, once you sign it and your mentor signs it, this is like basically just like elementary has their 3 weeks and special ed has their 4 weeks, this is your specific calendar contract. So if you break the calendar contract because you're sick one day, I still need your documentation. I understand that you have more flexibility in getting your hours done and you don't have to do them on specific weeks. However, once you break the calendar contract, I need documentation telling me why you did not attend on a day that you said you were going to be there. Okay, professional dress. So we like to say business casual. Business casual doesn't mean if you're male, you do not have to wear suits. You do not have to wear blazers. You do not even have to wear ties, but a nice pair of pants, khaki black pants, navy pants, and a pullover shirt. There's a picture there. This would be a good picture of, this says casual, but to me, this is more business casual. We're not asking that you wear blazers or ties. I mean, you can if you would like to. That would definitely set you apart in a positive way, but we're not asking that you do that every single day. Females, business casual, you can wear skirts or dresses if you'd like, but capris or dress pants are fine too. We do ask that you wear this every day of your field experience, business casual. I always get questions. What if the school allows their teachers to wear jeans on Fridays? As a field experience student, we would prefer you not to wear jeans, denim jeans. If they're black jeans or green jeans or burgundy jeans, that's fine, but not denim jeans. We would like for you to set yourself apart during your field experiences. Now, once you start student teaching and you're there every single day, then we allow you to go by the dress code that the teachers go by. So once you're student teaching and they wear jeans on Friday, then yes, you can wear them during your student teaching semester. But for your field experience semester, please do not wear jeans unless they have dress up days. So if they have homecoming week and they have dress up days for homecoming, you can participate in that. So if they have book character day and you want to dress up like the Three Little Pigs with two other teachers, then yes, you can dress up. If you can wear jeans with some kind of outfit on that week, that's fine. Or if you wear any kind of other costumes, that's fine. If you want to participate in dress up days, if they have dress up days while you're there, then yes, you can do that. And then of course, no to athletic wear, no to strapless, no to big gaudy jewelry, especially if you're elementary, because you may be in the floor with kids and you don't want them pulling on that. No to low cut tops. Like I said, especially if you're elementary and you're in the floor playing with children, you want to be mindful of the shirts you have and how low cut your top is. Then also, while you're out in the field, we ask that you wear your GSW card, your student card, to identify yourself as a GSW student. Your picture is on that card, right? The picture on the card? Yes. So wear your GSW card, your student ID. And then we have lanyards that we have just purchased. They're brand new this semester. They say College of Education, and then on the other side it says Take Teaching by Storm. So you all can get a lanyard on your way out. We encourage you to wear those if you do not have any other type of lanyard. If you have your own lanyard that you want to wear, that's fine. But we do encourage you to wear these so that the schools can see that our GSW students are out in their schools. It has GSW on this, and they are the retractable kind. And they are also the breakaway kind. So for those of you that are with special ed students or young students, if they pull on it, it's not going to choke you. It will break away. So we did try to keep all that in mind when we ordered these. So you all can pick up one of those on your way out. We would love for you to wear them while you're in the field if you do not have something else that you'd like to wear. Any question about dress? Y'all are so quiet today. All right, so professional representation. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about this because this was a big part of the Code of Ethics, and she talked a lot about the social media stuff. But as far as email is concerned, please make sure when you're emailing your mentors, your liaisons, me, Ms. Whaley, Dr. Abbott, your clinical specialist, please make sure that your emails are professional, and please read them before you send them. Make sure they're grammatically correct, especially when you're sending it to your mentors and liaisons. Now, if you send it to me and it's not grammatically correct, I promise it's not the end of the world. But please, please, when you're sending it out to schools, when you're sending emails out to them, please make sure that your emails are grammatically correct. And it's always nice to start with a greeting, good morning, good afternoon, or dear Miss So-and-so, dear Mr. So-and-so. and then type your email and then close it with a signature. If you do not have a signature on your email already, please remember to put your name at the bottom because it may not show them who it's from. It may just say ACHRISTI at radar.gsw. So they may not know who you are. So please follow it up with your name if you do not have a signature on your email. And then social media, please do not post pictures of students in the classroom on your social media. If you take pictures in the classroom, like let's say you do have a dress-up day and you want to take pictures of the kids, you need to make sure you blur out all of their faces. But I still would suggest not even posting that on social media, even if you blur out their faces. If you use that for assignments for your classes, that's fine, but just make sure that you haven't taken a picture of a child that their parents signed they didn't want pictures to be taken of them. So touch base with your mentor before you take any pictures on if there's any children in the classroom that can't have their picture made. If you do take the pictures for assignments, blur out their faces or take pictures of their back. And if you want to take pictures of yourself in the classroom or with your mentor or with other teachers on the hall, that's fine as long as those teachers say it's fine for you to take their picture. And if you want to post those on social media, that's fine as well as long as they are okay with that. Now, if you and another one of your peers are in the same school and you want to take a picture of you all and post something like the first day of field experience, that's fine too. Just make sure there's no children in the background in those pictures. And then also just be mindful of everything else that you're posting on social media from this point forward. It starts now as students in field experience all the way through student teaching, and then once you are in your career. So you're already considered a professional even as a student. So be mindful of what you post on social media. And it may be a good idea to go ahead now and go back and look at your social media page and Google yourself and see what you can see. And if there's anything that you think may be violating the code of ethics, you may want to go ahead and delete that. Are there any minors, education minors in here today? Okay, so you will, on your time log will not be in VIA or SLL that we now call it. Your time log will be on paper. Here, you can come get one of these. And then this is your checklist. So this is your time log. You'll just fill out here. You don't have to worry about putting any time in VIA, SLL. Any other minors? Okay. So everyone else will get one of these. I'm just going to pass these around and y'all can just continue to pass them. This is just a checklist. There's no time log on it because y'all are going to put your time in SLL. Okay, so SLL, Student Learning and Licensure. This is the new name for VIA. And yes, it's going to take faculty here a while to get used to this because some faculty are still calling it live text. Some faculty are now calling it VIA live text. Some are calling it VIA, and now we've got to change it again because now it's SLL, Student Learning and Licensure. You can still get to Student Learning and Licensure by going to vialivetext.com right now. I don't know when that domain is going to change, but right now, if you type in vialivetext.com, you can still get there and get to your account. However, once they discontinue that, then you're going to have to type in sll.watermarkinsights.com. That's on that checklist that we're passing around, so you'll have that. Your account that you already have, if you already have an account, most of you should already have an account. It's the same thing. You're going to use your same email and password to get in. The only thing that's different is the title of the account is called Student Learning and Licensure now instead of VIA. So at this time, I'm going to stop and I'm going to pull up VIA, SLL. If you have your phones or tablets or computers, if you can try to pull up your VIA SLL account and see if you can already see the internship group on there. So you should see on your account, somebody let me know if you get your account up. You should see somewhere on your account one of these little yellow bubbles that says internship. And it should say F22, whatever your program is, field experience. Does anybody see that yet? You do. Great. Is anybody in your account and you do not see that? So if you're not checking your account now, when you leave today, please go check your account and make sure you can see that. Miss Whaley entered everybody's name in yesterday. So if you can't see it, we need to know so that we can go in and check that. So whatever group you're in, which we mostly have elementary in here, so I'm going to click elementary. Yours should say F22 elementary GSW field experience. The reason it says GSW is because we also have elementary at ABAC, so we distinguish to GSW and ABAC. So once you click on your internship group, you will see where you will submit your liability insurance. That was the question earlier. Where do I submit my liability insurance? It's in there. Liability insurance is due on Sunday, the 18th. So please have that in there. Miss Whaley will check that on the 19th when she gets in. She'll check liability insurance to make sure everybody's posted that in this SLL account. And you'll also see the 2 evaluations are already in there for your mentor to complete. And I'll talk about them in just a second. But for you right now, all you need to do is your liability insurance submission before you start your field experience. I'm going to leave that up. We'll come back to the evaluations in just a second. So you will track your attendance besides the minor. Everyone else will track your attendance in SLL. Just like the time log and when you used it in VIA, it's the same way. You'll enter your hours in the time log in SLL. And you'll need to remind your mentors to go in their SLL account and approve your hours. So log, the website may have changed this a little bit. I think the log used to be on the right side, but now it's here. So you'll click log. And when you go in to create a log entry, you'll have to choose a category. I'm pretty sure y'all did this. So if you are doing some co-teaching with your mentor, you can choose that. If you're just observing that whole day, choose observation. If you do pull a small group of kids and do small group instruction, you can choose that. If you teach the whole group that day, then you can choose teaching. Team taught with mentor, that's basically the same thing as co-taught with mentor. So those are your options for your category. Enter your hours here. And then a short description. Y'all, I'm not talking about a paragraph here, only like 1 sentence description. If you pulled a small group to the back table and you all worked on addition with regrouping, then put that. I pulled a small group and worked on addition with regrouping. Just a short description of something that you did that day. So your mentor, once you post those entries, your mentor will be able to see those entries and they will have a check or an X that they can just click on the check marks to approve those hours. I think now they have updated the website where there's a option they can choose to approve all at one time and they don't have to go through and check every single one. They can just approve them all. So if your mentor waits until the end to go in and approve all of them, that's fine. They don't have to go in every single day to enter it. They don't have to go in once a week. They could wait until the very end and approve them all at the same time. For you all, we would like for you to go in every couple of days. You don't have to go every single day, but every 2 to 3 days, please go in via SLL, sorry. Please go in SLL and update your time log. This is so that Miss Whaley and I, when y'all are out there in the field, we keep a check on VIA to make sure you all are posting your time in there. If it comes to the end of that first week and we don't see any hours for you, then it's going to throw up a red flag. And the faculty can see this information as well. So please go in at least 2 times a week, like on Wednesday and Friday, and post your hours in SLL. Post your time, update your time log. All right, and then the evaluations. Your mentor will complete 2 evaluations on you. And then new this semester, you will actually be submitting a copy of these evaluations to your professors here at GSW. And I'll talk about that in just a second when we get to that slide. Okay, and then also new this semester, there is a new evaluation for the mentors to complete. Used to, the mentors completed 2 of the same evaluation. It was the same exact thing. They just completed one the first week and one at the end. This time, we're having them complete 2 different evaluations. So the first evaluation, we're calling it the intro evaluation, the first week you're out there. So after you're there 4 or 5 days, your mentor will need to do this first one. So for those SPED, middle grade, secondary, health and PE, I know you may not go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But if you go a good chunk of time in that first week, you can go ahead and let them complete it. If you only go like 2 days that first week and then 2 days the next week, then let them complete it after the next week. Let them get at least 4 or 5 days of experience watching you before they complete the evaluation. So this evaluation is scored on a 0, 1, 2, 3, not demonstrated, partially demonstrated, demonstrated, and effectively demonstrated. I'm going to pull up an example of this. This is basically like the PBDA, which you probably heard of in 2130 if you took 2130 here. This is the professional dispositions evaluation. On here, it's titled First Week Evaluation, Mentor Completes. And this is the things that they're going to be looking for that first week while you're out there. Attitude, if you're demonstrating a positive attitude. Relationship with adults. So you're maintaining positive relationships with adults, meaning parents of students, if you come in contact with parents, colleagues, administration, staff, etc. Verbal and nonverbal communication. So you're communicating effectively, and this even means by email. I think there's somewhere on here it says something about email. So that would be nonverbal communication. Also, your body language is nonverbal communication. So make sure that you are presenting yourself in a positive manner. Attendance. You are adhering to the policies regarding attendance and punctuality. So if the mentor gets there, if the mentor school day for SPED and elementary, you all are going those full days for those weeks. If the mentor gets there at 8 a.m. and they leave at 4 p.m., then that's what we expect of you, unless you have class. The only way to get out of that mentor schedule is if you have class here on campus. Otherwise, you need to be there at the same time that your mentor gets there and leaves. And then make sure you're on time. Make sure if you do have absences, you communicate that with the mentor and then provide the documentation for that. Relationships with students. So earlier we just saw relationships with adults, and now this is relationships with students. And initiative. So show initiative from day one when you walk in the door. Let them know that you're there to assist them in whatever they need. Believe me, they are going to be happy to have you work with some of their kids. So show that initiative as soon as you walk in the door. Professional appearance. This has a lot to do with your dress, good hygiene, follows the university, school, and/or the district policies for professional appearance. Legal and ethical conduct. As long as you're following those code of ethics, you'll be fine. You're adhering to the legal and ethical standards. Diversity. Make sure you demonstrate respect and appreciation for a wide variety of individual differences. So respect and appreciate all the children in your classroom, no matter where they come from. Communication, again, the teacher candidate communicates effectively. That basically goes along with the other communication one up here. Verbal and nonverbal communication is basically the same thing. It's just another element. So this is the first week evaluation. Now, your mentors never have done this before. This is new this semester. So we will give the mentors information about this. So they're used to doing the teacher candidate evaluations. We call them the TCEs. But for the first week, they're not going to do a TCE. They're going to do this. And they should be able to score all of this after they've seen you for a week. They should be able to tell if you're communicating and you're dressing professionally and things like that. They should be able to score all of these that first week. Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes. So they will have, the mentors will have their own SLL account. The mentor accounts are free. They don't have to pay for them. They go in, we use their school email addresses and we set them up an account. They go in with their school email address and they can see all of this that you see. They can see it on their side and they can fill it out for you on their side. And yes, as soon as they hit submit, now they can go in and they can fill out a few of them and then save it and not submit it. As soon as they hit submit, though, you can see it. So if they just save it, you're not going to be able to see it yet. That means they can go back to it and keep editing. But as soon as they hit submit, you'll be able to see it. And you'll have to see it because after they submit this, your first week, you will have, when you come back to classes on October 3rd, the week of October 3rd through 7th, your classes are resuming that week and the next week. When you come back to class, you need to bring a copy of that evaluation that your mentor did to your professor. I don't know if they will want you to print it out and bring it a hard copy or if they'll want you to screenshot it and put it in Georgia View. But they'll choose one or the other. They'll have you print it and bring it to them, or they'll have you screenshot it and put it in Georgia View. This is so that they can see what the mentor has seen from you while you're out in the field. Otherwise, the faculty have to go in via SLL and look at different groups and all that. It's a whole lot harder for faculty to be able to get to these evaluations unless you bring them a hard copy or you screenshot it and put it in Georgia View. So they will let you know within the next couple of weeks, next week, how they want you to do that. But this means, since your professors here are wanting a copy of this means that you've got to remind your mentor to do it. So at the end of that first week or second week for SPED and middle grades, all health and PE, music, secondary, before you come back to class, you've got to make sure that your mentor has went on and done this. So you've got to keep a check on your SLL account so that you can print it off or screenshot it. Once you come back to class, your professors are going to be looking for these. If for some reason you've reminded your mentor 2 or 3 times to do this and they still will not do it, please let me know. I'll reach out to them. But please don't just not remind them and reach out to me and say, my mentor didn't do that. My first question is, how many times did you remind them to do it? Before I reach out to them, you have got to try to remind them 2 or 3 times before we step in and reach out. Okay, so that's the first week. For minors, you have 15 hours, right? Does anyone else in here have only 15 hours to complete? Some secondary people may only have 15 hours. Anybody else? No. Okay, so your evaluations are not going to be in this anyway. I send you an evaluation for minors by Google Forms since you don't have this account, so you don't have to worry about any of these evaluations. All right, the final week, the final couple of days that you're there, your mentor needs to complete the teacher candidate evaluation. This is the one that you've seen before, the TCE. It's also 0321. 0 is not applicable. 1 is inadequately demonstrated. 2 is inconsistently. And 3 is consistently. I'm going to pull up a copy of that. You've all seen these before. This is what they've done in the past. This is titled Final Week Evaluation TCE Mentor Completes. And I can't get to it. Okay, well, maybe I'm not going to pull up an example, but this is the same one you've seen before. This is, there's an element for differentiation, assessment, communication, professionalism, instructional strategies, the same evaluation you've seen in the past. This is the one that the mentor will do on your final week. Now, if you've been able to teach some in their classroom, then they will have seen you differentiating and they will have seen you assessing. They will have seen you using instructional strategies. So they will be able to score this by your final few days if they've seen you teaching. If you're if you're a junior and you don't have to teach lessons yet, they may not have seen you differentiating. They may not have seen instructional strategies. It's okay for them to mark NA on that, and we let them know that they can mark NA if they didn't get to see you doing that. But if you did teach a lesson, they should be able to score you on this. Now, please remember, if you score a 1 or a 2 on these TCE evaluations, it's not the end of the world. We want to see growth with your TCE evaluation. So right now, your junior year, your first semester senior year, we shouldn't see all 3s on these TCEs. None of you should be scoring all 3s right now. If a mentor scores you all 3s, then you're either A, like you need to go ahead and be in a classroom now, or B, the mentor is just, going through and clicking and not really reading over this, which is, we hope does not happen. We do communicate with the mentor that we do not want them to just click 3s just to make you happy. We want them to give you good feedback. We want them to score you, as they really see. We do not want them to just click on 3s. We want to see growth. Differentiation is hard, y'all. There's still teachers that are teaching year 5 and 6 that still do not have differentiation down pat. They're still inconsistently differentiating. So if you score a 1 or a 2 on differentiation, that's fine. We want to see growth. We hope that by the time you are done with student teaching, that you'll be scoring some 3s, and mostly 3s by the end of student teaching. But right now, please don't think it's the end of the world if you score 1s and 2s on these TCEs. You will see like a percentage score on the TCEs at the top. That percentage score, that grade doesn't go anywhere in anybody's grade book. So do not freak out if you see a 40% on the top of a TCE whenever you see your TCE that your mentor completed. Now, your mentor will complete this TCE on your final week, but also if you have to have an observation by a clinical specialist, they do this same TCE. So they will score you on a TCE while they come watch you teach a lesson, and they will give you feedback on this TCE as well. So not only will you, if you're in your semester before student teaching, not only will you get information and feedback from your mentor, but you'll also get it from a clinical specialist using this same evaluation. It's not up here yet, but you'll also see, if you are getting an evaluation from a clinical specialist, you'll also see something that says something like TCE clinical specialist completes, so that your mentor will know which one they complete and the clinical specialist will have their own to complete. All right, so we didn't have anybody with only 15 hours except for the minor. Everybody will have the 2, the first week and the final week. We've talked about the evaluation from the clinical specialist, and then the minors, I will send an evaluation to your mentor via a Google form. Will I see the results? Yes. As soon as this mentor submits, you will see it on your side in your SLL account. Also, once the clinical specialists submit, you'll see theirs as well in your SLL account. You'll retrieve these evaluations from your account to submit to your professors. Like I said, you'll either print them hard copy, or you can screenshot and bring and put them in Georgia View, however your professors want you to do that. If you have an observation from the clinical specialist, you're going to work with them to arrange a time that they can come observe you teaching a lesson. They don't want to come and watch you just sitting in the back of the classroom. They want to come watch you teaching a lesson. That's why they come the semester before you student teach, because you actually get to write lesson plans and teach some that semester. So you'll arrange a time with them. Normally they do it during the last 2 weeks of field experience, which will be those last 2 weeks of October. But for middle grade, secondary, middle grades and secondary, the clinical specialists, they do not come and observe. They won't do a formal observation on health and PE, and they won't do a formal observation on music. But middle grades and secondary, they may come see you after that week in October. If you have to keep going and you have to arrange a time sometime in November, they may work with you for that. But you will work with your individual clinical specialist on that. If you do not have to have the observation from them, they still may visit you at your school, like I mentioned earlier, or they may set up a virtual call to talk to you. Field experience assignments, your assignments for your classes. I don't know anything about your assignments. Ms. Whaley doesn't know anything about your assignments. So if you have specific questions about your assignments, you have to ask your professors about those. Your professors will still be here during field experience weeks. They'll still be checking email. Just because you don't have class doesn't mean they disappear. So if you have questions while you're out there in the field about your assignments, please email your professors or call them, talk to them about those assignments. You will turn those assignments into them, however they've told you to turn them in, whether it be Georgia View, hard copy, however they've told you to turn in your assignments, you turn it into them, not to Ms. Whaley or myself. A professional intervention plan. So we do have a professional intervention plan if there are issues while you're out in the field. Let's say you're showing up late every single day. Your mentor will reach out to me and they will say, Jane Doe is not coming to my class on time. And I've already talked to her about it and she just won't come on time. So at that point, we would reach out to you. We would call you in. We would place you on a professional intervention plan, help you with some strategies to be able to get to school on time, see what's going on, talk through it, give you some supports, and work through that with you. A professional intervention plan is not to get you in trouble, it's to help you and for us to be able to provide support for whatever may be going on during that semester. Professional intervention plans can be kept open if we see the need to keep them open each semester and keep revisiting those things, or if we think that you've successfully completed and there's no more issues, then we can close the PIP. And our goal is to be able to close the PIP before or during your student teaching semester. Okay, resources. This is our website that we put all of our resources on, tinyurl.com/GSW live text. You can still go to this website to get information like these checklists that I just handed to you. I will have a copy of those on the website. I'll have a copy of the calendar contract on the website. So if you lose this hard copy and you need another one, you can go to that website to download one. There's information on there that your mentor teachers use. There's information the clinical specialists use. There's information for field experience, for student teaching, for opening school experience. We have information on there for all of the different categories. So if you have time at some point and you've never been to this website, please go to the website. There's a lot of things on there that you can download that you don't have to email me and say, Miss Ward, I lost this. I need another copy of it. You can probably find it on the website and you don't have to go through all those steps. All right, remember, field experiences vary by school district. So if you are placed in Sumter County and your best friend is placed in Lee County, your experience is going to be different. They all vary by school district. That's one of the main reasons that we like to put you in different school districts so you can see that difference and see that variation of field experiences. So please don't compare your experience with your peers' experience. Don't be negative about your experience just because you may be in a classroom that has differences than another person's classroom. So just try not to compare. I know that's hard, but try not to compare your experiences with your peers. They're all going to be different. This is my email and phone number and Miss Whaley's email and phone number. If you need us while you're out there in the field, please call or email us. Miss Whaley's number is the main line, and so that's going to be the easiest one if you need to call to get in touch with us. But my direct line also, I have a voicemail on my direct line, so the voicemail goes to my email address. So if I happen to not be in the office, I can still check my voicemail through my email. All right, so right now, if you have any questions, I'll answer your questions, but I also need you to go to tinyurl.com/F22GSWFE. This is just an affirmation form saying that you went through the code of ethics this morning and you have been through orientation today, and that you understand if you have any questions who you can contact. So fill this affirmation form out, and if you have any questions, I'll answer questions now, and then I'm going to turn it over to our clinical specialist.